Today, I'm going to talk about why it's expensive to be poor. What I want you to realize is that we live in a bubble. No, not a physical bubble, but in a way where we live in a much more luxurious area than places around us. Some of you may think that there are not many lower income families in towns around us. However, that is not true. Once I'm done speaking, I hope you understand what I mean. No one wants to be poor, obviously, so how does someone get to a point in their life where they just don't have the money for necessities? I'm going to explain how, depending on how you grew up, money can severely affect your life. I'll begin with the early age, before school and part of the beginning. Books are pretty expensive if you think about it, and so for some families, they can be a luxury. That means that kids may not have the books to be read to from a young age. Books are important because they teach literacy skills such as vocabulary that children can later use once they are in school. Some people may ask, why can't they just go to a library? This is because the family may only have one car that a parent takes to work every day, so they would never have the time to go there. Another thing that kids really need before school that you might not think of are board games. You may see board games as well as games, but they also teach turn-taking skills, communication skills, and how to deal with the frustration of losing. Because lower-income families can't afford these things for their children, they will show that once they are in school. Once kids start school, they will keep on not having the supplies and resources that they need. You'd most likely agree when I say that schools in lower-income areas aren't as nice as schools in Northbrook. What you might not know is why. Public school funding is decided by the property taxes in the area. If the area doesn't generate a significant amount of property tax, then the school's funding is going to be less. Not only does this affect the district's ability to afford supplies, but it also means that schools may not be able to pay for many teachers. This leads to overcrowding in classrooms and less individualized attention. Schools may not be able to pay for specialties like music and art, band and orchestra, and especially not any after-school activities. School funding can easily change how kids learn in school. That's why kids that go to schools in poorer areas tend to be less educated. Once people finish school, typically they get a job and work. The problem is, because of someone's schooling, or lack thereof, they may not be able to get a well-paying job because that would require a college degree, which is extremely expensive to obtain. Many entry-level jobs only pay the minimum wage. While this pay might seem high to a teenager, it most definitely isn't if you're trying to earn a living. The minimum wage might be fine for a high school-aged kid who doesn't have to pay for bills, taxes, or any other of the adult stuff. However, it isn't the same for someone who needs to support themselves and might even have a family. In Northbrook, the minimum wage is only $8.25 per hour, while the Cook County minimum wage is currently $11 per hour. People who work the minimum wage only make about $17,000 a year. That may seem high, but it really isn't for someone who, like I said before, needs to pay for the mortgage or rent, bills, taxes, food, clothes, gas if they own a car, and just everyday necessities. This means that people work for hours and might even need to get a second job just so that they can get by. Obviously, no one wants to be poor, and most of the time it's not their fault. People are working their butts off but just can't afford life. What makes it expensive to be poor is sort of like a chain reaction. It could start with someone being poor, buying an old and used car. They need something to get them to work every day, but they don't have the money for a new or nicer one. One day, because the car is so old, it breaks down. People may not have the money to quickly fix their car, so this leads to them not being able to get to their minimum wage paying job. If they don't show up to work for a couple days, they get fired. If they don't have money to pay for the rent or mortgage, they could become homeless. For one seemingly small event that would be much more of an inconvenient, now I need to go get my car fixed type of event for us, it just ruins someone's life. The reason is because people live paycheck to paycheck and don't have the money for unexpected expenses. People don't have just a couple $100s saved up as emergency money when they need to fix their car or house. Now, I'm assuming most parents in the audience have been to Costco sometime in their life. There, you can get paper towels for $24 for 12 rolls. You can also go to Target and get paper towels for one roll for $3.59. After doing the math, you could spend $24 at a time buying the 12 rolls, or over time, spend almost $20 more by buying each roll at a time. The reason is because people may be on such a tight budget that they can only spend $3.59 each week. Therefore, they lose $20 in doing so. Little things in life can make it expensive for someone who is struggling financially. People don't have the money to quickly fix their car, pay for a doctor's appointment, or spend money for a bulk set of paper towels. Families don't have the money to afford to pay for preschool, spend money on books, or live in a neighborhood with better schools. There are many things we can do to help, though, such as raising the minimum wage, providing paid sick leave, and funding high child care and early education programs. In 2017, the Cook County minimum wage was raised to $10 with $1 per year increase until 2020, when it would be $13 per hour. The Northbrook Village trustees voted to opt out of this ordinance and also the paid sick leave mandate, though that was eventually changed. Compared to other towns around us, people who work the minimum wage in Northbrook make almost $2.75 less per hour. But good news though, the Illinois state legislature recently voted to gradually increase the minimum wage to $15 per hour over the next 6 years. Northbrook is an amazing place to live in and go to school in. However, not everybody has the same opportunities and privileges. We live in a bubble. Pop.